Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Life on the Wrist. I know it's been a while. I apologize for the little bit of a break that I took. Today we're going to be talking about a watch that was announced to be selling at Phillips. The reason why I want to talk about it is I actually think it's probably one of the most significant watches to come to auction this year, probably in the last couple of years, to be honest. When I'm recording this, the Geneva watch auctions are actually happening right as I speak. There were some really good results at Phillips. Really cool to see some of the watches that sold. There's a Daytona that sold for $3 million. There was also a really cool 1463 that was in really cool condition with a little bit of oxidation on the case that I thought was really beautiful. There was also a Tiffany blue Nautilus that sold, I think, at Christie's for I want to say like 1.8 million or something like that, which was substantially lower than what the first one sold for. But the watch that I wanted to talk about is actually going to be sold in Hong Kong in May, towards the end of May. And the reason why I want to talk about it is, one, I think it's a very significant watch in watch collecting. I think it is also a really good example of how provenance is extraordinarily important to collectors today. So the watch that I'm talking about is the Patek Philippe reference 96 QL that was, and I'll kind of read it here. It's an exceedingly prestigious, historically important and previously unknown platinum triple date wristwatch with small seconds, moon phase, roulette dial, enamel Arabic numerals, pink gold, feuillet hands, which was the former property of the last emperor of the Qing dynasty, Aisin-Giro Puyi. And I'll sort of read the press release just so that I can kind of tee up this watch a little bit. Phillips is proud to unveil a Patek Philippe reference 96 QL, an inscribed paper fad and a manuscript notebook, watercolor paintings, and a leather-bound printed edition of Confucius Analects, once belonging to Puyi, the last emperor of the Qing dynasty. Presenting a rare insight into a remarkable chapter in history, these incredible artifacts will be on view in Hong Kong, 18 to 31 March. This will follow an international tour in New York, Singapore, London, Taipei, and Geneva, with the piece being offered for sale later at a later date. This is the first time that I think we've seen, in a little bit of time, where we've seen a historic figure in history, one of his watches, sort of come to auction that really had a significant impact in the way in which a country developed, and to be honest, a region developed. And I think that is why this watch is really significant, because we're not just talking about actors and famous politicians or something like that. We're really talking about someone who was an emperor of a country and gave that country really the trajectory, and a region, really changed the trajectory of a region. So I think this watch is significant beyond means. I think it's nice that they're auctioning it in Hong Kong, so it's at least in the region in which Puyi probably was most well known, but also where he lived and was for the majority of his life. One of the things that I mentioned in the beginning and in the intro of this video was the idea of provenance. I think provenance has become exceedingly important to collectors, to find watches that belong to important people. There's two levels, right? There's one where you're looking for a watch that belonged to the last emperor of China, but there's also a level of provenance where you can just track the provenance of a watch. So it could be as simple as, I know that this came from the first owner, and I know I have a signed letter that says this watch came from the first owner of this piece, or I have the documentation from the sale of the watch that shows that it was sold to this individual. And I think provenance has become way more important when buying watches, especially for collectors. at auction. Something that Phillips did was they actually created a video called The Last Emperor, and they called it the Imperial Patek Philippe sale, and the Patek Philippe watch. And what they did here was really paint the picture of how this watch came into the possession of the individual that it came into possession to. I don't want to spoil the documentary because it really is well done. There'll be a link on our article as well as in the show notes in the description of this video, so I highly encourage you to check it out. But it kind of documents the relationships that people had with Puyi and the way in which the watch came to its current state, and also the way in which the watch came to the person who owned it. By doing this, I think they're showing a couple of things. The first is they're showing the due diligence that they did in order to acquire this watch and really trace its history to ensure that they can document that this really did belong to this individual. The second thing they're doing is really creating a beautiful story that would capture the imagination of so many collectors and would entice them to buy this watch. Obviously, auction houses are there to sell watches, and so they're doing a really good job by creating this video, but I do think it's actually a very historic moment in watch collecting to be able to document something like this and give this to the new owner of the watch. And I think this is a perfect microcosm of how provenance, both from the idea of like who the watch belonged to, but the way in which we document that and the way in which you can document that as a collector, are becoming way more in the forefront of collectors' minds. I think it's also an opportunity for you as a watch collector to learn from this. When you are buying watches, and it can be a significant watch like this, which is a Patek Philippe 96 QL, or it could be something that you're buying from a collector that you know, it's also really good to make sure that you have documented that provenance, because I think collectors are more conscious about it, and I think it's something that you as a collector can make sure that you have when you start building a collection or look to build a collection of watches, is the provenance. I also think it gives you a much deeper connection with the watch because you have to look into the provenance of the watch. If you bought it from a collector friend, it also kind of it shows the ties that you have with that collector, and the relationships that you have are now documented, and that watch is now part of the journey that you've been on, but also the journey that you've been on with that friend. So many lessons that can be learned here. I think Phillips did a really great job producing this video, and I highly encourage you to take a look at this, at the video that they've created for this watch, because it really is a truly beautiful story. The article that will be with this video will actually document that story. So if you do want to read about the story, head over to lifefromtherwrist.com, and you can see the article that we'll write for this video. Phillips has also covered this extensively, so I'll leave some links to their website so you can check it out. If you are in Hong Kong, I encourage you to go to this auction. It's funny because this isn't just a watch auction. They have other items that are going to be sold, and for a very historic individual, a historic moment, it really is a beautiful time. So if you are in Hong Kong, maybe go over to Phillips and participate in this auction, or at least be able to watch it. I will not be in Hong Kong, but I'm sure it's going to be a ton of fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are new to Life from the Wrist, be sure to subscribe to the channel and share this with a friend who might be interested in watches. I cover a whole range of topics, so you can check out our other videos and our articles on our website if you want to see more of that. If you don't follow us on our social media accounts, be sure to head over to the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of it. We're on it, so just search lifeonthewrist.com or Life on the Wrist, and we'll pop up. I encourage you to chat with us if you have questions or you want to chat about watches. I'm always open to doing so. So if you wouldn't mind liking this video, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this watch. I'd love to hear your thoughts. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and until next time.